Good night of Shabbos, everyone. Of Shabbos, Parshas Ekev. Moshe Rabbeinu continues in his final speech and talks to us about the conquest of the land, going into Eretz Yisrael, getting us ready. All of this is about getting us ready to be able to go in and transition to God's people in the land of Israel. Comes on the pasuk, and the pasuk says, "V'noshel Hashem lekecha es hagoyim ha'el miponecha ma'at ma'at." That God is going to put these nations before you little by little. It says, "Lo tuchal kaloisam mayer." You're not going to be able to get rid of them fast. Pentir ba'alecha chayes hasada. Because lest the beasts of the field increased against you. So the fear is that if you're going to get rid of them, the enemies too fast, so then somehow you're going to be inundated by the beasts. So Rashi says that pentir ba'alecha chayes hasada. But if you do the will of Hashem, you don't really have to worry about the beast. As it says, if that the beasts of the field are going to be at peace with you. So then what were they so worried about? What was Moshe Rabbeinu worried about? That the beasts of the field were going to overwhelm them. You do what you're supposed to do. Go do mitzvahs. Go into the land of Israel. Take over the land of Israel exactly the way God told you to take it over. And then you have nothing to worry about the beasts. So why did there have to be a delay, that it was going to take slow, it was going to go in stages, only because of the beasts? So Rashi says, because he knew shasidin lachter, because he knew in the future they were going to sin. So in the future they were going to sin, they were going to have to worry about beasts. They had to worry about a lot of things if they were going to sin. They had to worry about the fact that God wasn't going to be with them if they were going to sin. They were not going to be able to beat up their enemies if they were going to sin. So why was it dafka that it was the beasts that they have to worry about? Why was this whole thing characterized as you have to be careful? We can't let this thing go too fast because we can't worry about the animals. And if they were promised that the conquest of the land of Israel was going to take place with miracles and in a miraculous fashion, so then why not just get rid of the animals? 1, 2, 3, boom, 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 they're gone. Right? What do you have to worry about it for? Why did this have to become a whole subject of fear and of worry? Can't let this happen this way because we're worried about the animals. What is all this? So I think that we have to remind ourselves and remember the whole concept of kibush arts, that coming into the land of Israel was not only a physical conquest. It wasn't just coming in and getting rid of our enemies physically and then us coming in and settling the land. It was rather about ridding the land of idolatry, of getting rid of the tumah, getting rid of the rishos, getting rid of the evil, getting rid of all of the terrible things that existed in the land, because they became rooted in the very foundations, in the very earth of the land. And we had to uproot that in order to then be able to fill it with kedusha. So you can't just get rid of things and then expect that everything is going to be fine. You have to replace it with something. You have a bad habit. You can't just get rid of the bad habit without replacing it with something positive. In the 80s, when they were dealing with cults and trying to get rid of, trying to extricate kids from cults, so a lot of times what they do is they would rid the kid of his desire for a cult, but they wouldn't fill it with something else. And if you didn't fill it with something else, with a desire for something else, then eventually either you went back or you just became an empty person. But if you want to get rid of something negative, you've got to fill it with something positive. And that was really the way kibush arts had to take place. We had to get rid of it from the negative. We had to get rid of the idolatry. We had to get rid of the people. We had to get rid of the evil. But then we had to fill it with something. When we talk about animals, animals represent unfinished spirituality. The danger of animals, we only have to be worried about animals when we ourselves are not spiritually perfect and spiritually perfective. Because the Gemara in Shabbos says that no beast attacks a person unless we look like an animal. If we look like a human being, the animals are afraid of us. They're petrified of us. Look at what Kadosh Baruch Hu said in the Torah when he created man. He says, "Nasa adam b'tzameinu d'musenu." Let's make man in our image, and then v'yardu b'dgasa yamu bo'ov sh'mayim b'behima v'chol ha'remes ha'romes ha'la'aretz, and then he'll be able to rule over everything in the world. Because when he looks like a human being, when he looks like a spiritual person, when he looks like a tselem Elokim, nothing to worry about. Animals aren't going to start up with us. Animals aren't going to start up with human beings. They're only going to start up when you look like an animal, When you look like a behemoth like them, then they're stronger than you are. Then they're going to be able to take you over. It's not only about the physical conquest of the land, but it's about the spiritual conquest and the spiritual growth of the people. Once we're ready, then we're going to be able to drive out all of our challenges. We're going to be able to drive out even the animals, because then we're going to look like human beings. And that's why the Pasuk is making such a big deal about animals, because the Pasuk's not talking about driving away animals. The Pasuk is talking about achieving a spiritual greatness. And when we achieve a spiritual greatness, that's when we have no formidable enemies left in the world. Physically, we have to drive them out, but we have to replace their presence and replace that with something spiritual and something great, so that we never fall back and never fall prey to that again. We're in the process now of ridding the land of evil. It's not enough. It's not enough here in Eretz Yisrael just to get rid of our enemies. We have to fill our lives with ruchnius and with spirituality. We're getting close to Elul now. We have to remind ourselves that when we look like a Tselem Elokim, we have nothing to worry about. And that's the arena that we have to mechazik ourselves. We have to physically get rid of our enemies. Good, that's happening. But we also have to make sure that we look like a Tselem Elokim, so that we don't have to worry about their animals. We don't have to worry about being attacked by the rest of the world. Because if we look like a Tselem Elokim, if we look like the image of Hashem, if we look like human beings that we're meant to look like, so then that's when we can rest assured that even the animals, even the spiritual dangers in this world are going to be run, or we're going to be taken away from us, because we're going to be in the level of humans. I think it's worthwhile spending a little bit of time on that. Spending a little time on that message that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was sending us through this week's Parsha. Absolutely. Get rid of the physical enemies. But don't forget to fill the void with your ruchnius and your spirituality, to make yourself look like a Tselem Elokim, because then you'll be able to rule over every danger and every challenge in the world. Have a beautiful, amazing, wonderful Shabbos.